Hey, what's up soldiers? My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire. On Attack of the Radioactive Thing, Willard Wyler left his diary right next to the pool on the map. So if you go up to the pool and press square, you're going to end up hearing quotes. Now there's going to be quotes specifically about Willard's family because it is his diary, so it talks about his daughter and his wife and things like that. And then depending on which character you are, there's going to be a couple quotes within those quotes that are going to be talking about the specific character. So what I did was I went in with all 4 of the different characters, got all those quotes that are character specific, and then I also have Willard's quotes as well. So we're going to start off with Willard's quotes, and then we're going to go to the character specific ones, and I really hope you guys do enjoy this video. It took a lot of time to record. Thank you so much for watching. My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire, and without further ado, let's get right into the storyline information for Attack of the Radioactive Thing. Enjoy, guys.
I've been so careful, yet I fear a watchful eye is upon me. Even these thoughts feel invaded and unsafe. Am I just being overly paranoid? All I have done has shown that I have served well. I have never openly strayed from this curse. May they all grant forgiveness to a foolish soul. I've been utterly lost without you, Alexandra. Terrified to face this reality and turn cold from it. Without you, I am but a former shell of myself. You are my light, my world, my angel. My attempts at sleep after your passing have brought upon an endless stream of nightmares and has only made reality without you that much more unbearable. Your pictures draped throughout our home haunt me with the reminder that I am alone, utterly alone. The studio work we began together and the films in development have allowed me to bury myself and forget, even if only temporarily. Forgetting you is not what I want, but the pain, the anguish, is a burden greater than I can bear. Windona's face is so much like that of yours that it pains me to look upon our own child. I love her tremendously, and I try to remain strong, yet I find myself pushing her further away to escape the agony. I miss you so, my love. I've spent lifetime searching. Is this all for naught? Shall I be punished further, trapped in this place? It matters not. I must persevere for them. They are all that matters. Their true memories are but a thing of lore, as I require them for a performance far greater than they were ever previously destined for. Celebrity is nothing more than a thin coat of armor that fades. But here they can profoundly change the destiny of so many. The original 4 now must remain encased in this prison, as little more than supplemental aids, endlessly awaiting the 4 that can truly help me unravel this spider web. Forgive me, my friends, but the lost souls of this dimension need your attention and your will to fight. You shall be their beacon of light. My little one, how you've grown so and become more than I could ever have fathomed. Winona Lee, there isn't a day that goes by that you don't pass through the halls of my fading memory. When your mother passed away, I promised that I would protect you with all of my heart and soul. I have failed you. My creative desires have corrupted all those that I have held so dear to my heart. Your passing was the final wound in a defeated man that no longer had the will to live. I want nothing more than to undo the treachery released by my convictions. I remain a lost soul amongst all the others with despair, fear, and uncertainty at every turn. I seek the freedom of all that I have encapsulated in this prison that exists neither here nor there. I have sent thousands through this maze, endlessly searching for the few that can withstand its onslaught of treachery and deceit. Every last one of them has been filled with too much fear or anger to persevere. Those closest to succeeding filled me with such hope. For a moment, I believed that I had finally come upon specimens that could endure. But alas, they too had proven to be nothing more than a parlor trick, loaded with disappointment. My search must continue. New York has consumed so many that I have lost hope that any could survive the arterial sprayed pavement. The rodent infestation orchestrated by Arthur has assured that all who enter will be consumed, one tiny bite at a time. The king and his band of rodents were exterminated quicker than I had anticipated. Pamela showed more courage with this group than she had with her own, which came as rather surprising. I'm uncertain of what her sudden change of heart means, but her guidance manifested even greater courage from the lot. Though death was nearly certain, AJ has once again risen to astounding heights. What a surprise you have proven to be, young AJ. What a surprise indeed. The 80s were exactly the time period he needed to expose his true potential. And with his hero present, it would take just the slightest push in the right direction. The mere sight of David was the icing on the cake that would be enough to reel him in, hook, line, and sinker. He breezed through the theme park with little to no fanfare. His strength and leadership only furthered my suspicions. He was ready for more. He could be the one that brings inspiration for the others, but it is too early to tell. I'll need to test him in the worst of circumstances before a celebration can be had. The rave will suit that testing case quite superbly. The 90s has devoured most before they could explore more of my work. Very few have sustained its onslaught of terror. But AJ has shown that he is no mere mortal. The rave and all of the horrors within it were merely an early morning warm-up for him. He made short work of Kevin in his horrific yet beautiful form as the enraged slasher. Ah, what a majestic dance that was to behold. Though his promise has shown through, there is much to prove before a toast can be raised. The rat-infested streets of New York are nothing short of horror at its finest. What shall become of our young explorer? I wait with bated breath. Poindexter had clearly studied my work, and his knowledge of Eastland more than made up for his lack of physical might. Feeble but brilliant, I could see moments of myself churning within this young man. With all their strength, charm, and courage, it was his wisdom that they turned to in their darkest hour. While he was enamored with David's presence, it did little to feed his desire for factual knowledge about his unusual circumstances. Perhaps I will have to pair him with someone more like himself before he will truly commit. Though surviving that long would be quite the spectacle, and at this juncture, the possibilities of his demise are immense. Though I presumed his role would lead him to certain death, it was his quick thinking that kept himself and the others alive. I wonder what will become of him should I take some of that intelligence away and slow his mind. The twisted branches of horror that filled the forest tore the soul out of nearly all cast into it. Rave proved to be the collapsing point, and one that I was adamant would consume Poindexter. Yet here Poindexter stood over the corpses of his foes with little fear in his heart. The role of the would-be raver had little capability in slowing Poindexter, as it had so many others. No matter what he encountered in the rave, his wit outclassed the challenge. The eventual discovery of Kevin and the realization of his true form within rave did little else to deter this young man from the answers he sought. New York would now become the new testing ground for such an assault. Will the rat destroy the rage? Or will his anger consume and cloud his vision? My, what an exciting development of events. New York has turned even the brightest of hopes into dashed dreams within an instant. Arthur had seen to the demise of most of the would-be venturers of the blood-stained subways and rat-infested streets. The aid of Pamela and the strength bestowed upon Poindexter, the fearsome duo rose to the occasion, sending Arthur to the grave yet again. With his wisdom intact and a surge of rage coursing through his veins, the once reigning king stood no more. Still, he has not bonded with any of the previous four as the others have. If this journey is to open a path to what he seeks, his next venture will undoubtedly be his last chance. She, like him, holds the intimate knowledge of these films. Though they have walked differing paths, their likenesses are undeniably similar. Perhaps an increase in his wit and a dose of uncanny beauty will catapult him to his true self. Let the games begin! The heinous streets of the Big Apple are treachery with a side of mayhem for good measure. Surely this would be a fitting place for Andre to take his last breath. A return to the place he once called home came to be his breakout performance. Arthur and his band of rats did little to frighten Andre. In fact, the horrors of the bloody pavement and the violent locals seemed to make him feel right at home. With Pamela reignited alongside this new cast member, she too blossomed. Arthur's reign collapsed in splendid fashion, with 5 souls united as one. None have survived where I will send him next. His blood shining in the sun near the crashing waves of the beach is highly likely. Sink or swim, it's your move, Andre. I knew the struggles of Andre's upbringing would bring immense courage, but his commanding 80s performance has far exceeded my expectations. The blast from his past allowed me to see that this young man had greatness buried within him, and Spaceland brought every ounce of it to the surface. David, though not instrumental, did prove to be inspirational. His plight has infused Andre with just enough rage that should bring out the fire within. The discomforts and horror of the rave should further test his will. Either he rises, or his blood will bathe the darkness of Rave's forest. Cut it out! Rave, like no other, shreds the will and flesh of many. Hopeless and helpless from the outset, most collapse at the premise. Yet Andre rose again. Finding Kevin completed what David had began previously. Releasing the rage, hiding within this young man. Perhaps Kevin has proven useful after all. Shame. He too held such promise, yet left me with little choice but to contain him in his endlessly continuing nightmare. Finally, I have found a use for him. All too familiar, this premise has played out before. I'll have to send him to a place that will feel like home, but will do nothing but suck the soul from his cold corpse. Welcome back to New York! Spaceland was hardly a challenge for such a ferociously courageous young woman. Her fearlessness and determination, even in a role that would appear to make her fodder at first glance, did little to stop her. I pegged first sight of the brute as her collapse, but no, not our little Sally. David has more than made up for his past failures. She has played right into the game and is now on a crash course with death and destruction. She is proving to be more than worthy, but I mustn't get ahead of myself. She still has much to prove. Perhaps a dance within the rave will cease her journey. You have survived the filthy streets of New York. Arthur made certain of that. He too once showed immense promise, but like many of the others, he became obsessed with my demise and sought to control my film, my world. Foolish imbecile. It was Pamela that I would send to rid me of his menace. She was such a prospect. I still see the good in her, but I require more than that. Sally could be that greatness. She believes in Pamela, and through her, a path that was once narrow for others has blossomed. It is conceivable that the events of their meeting will catapult her through what none have survived. Only time will tell, young Sally. Only time will tell. The training grounds of the rave, and all of the terror that waited underneath its pale blue moon, raised the stakes considerably. She has once again proven she is more than I had anticipated. The rave and all of its inhabitants were no match for my hand-picked vixen. The horrors within the blood-soaked forest, including the slasher, were nothing more than an appetizer. I've seen this before, and for all of his disappointment, I left Kevin in that place as a painful reminder. Disappointment was an understatement, to say the least. The Big Apple should end her dance with death. If not, she might prove to be something more than just a flash in the pan. Patience, young grasshopper.